Hello, everyone. Rachel Jensen here, broker owner of Luna Realty Belize in the beautiful country of Belize. We are on question number 101 today of our In the Inbox series. And this is a series when we answer questions that have been asked by folks like you. And so this next question is honestly never a question that I have ever had to answer before, but it is a question that one of my agents brought to me that was asked to him by someone else, one of his clients. And so let's say his name is Alex. Alex said, can I build my home anywhere on the island? Can I build my home anywhere on the island? And apparently Alex was talking to another agent who was so hyper focused and laser focused on selling Alex a specific part of the island that he mentioned to Alex that Alex can't build anywhere on the island because around the island is considered a marine reserve. And while that is partially true, that is not the full truth. So I want to go into what that answer looks like, because of course there are some stipulations around where you can and can't build on Ambergris Caye. Now, this is the island of Ambergris Caye right over here. The northern part of the island is a marine reserve. It's called Bacalar Chico. You see that on the screen. You are not going to be able to buy land in Bacalar Chico. There's no titled properties for sale there. There's no registered properties because it is considered a marine reserve. So this is not a place that you will be buying property because you cannot buy property in a marine reserve. Now, around Ambergris Caye, like or physically around the island, these waters are also considered a marine reserve. So there are a lot of people who come to the island and want to try to do over the water bungalows or do something along those lines. And it's very, very difficult, near impossible to get permits to do that because this is all a marine reserve. So you cannot build in the marine reserve without having to go through a tremendous amount of legwork, ECPs, the environmental clearances, and whatnot. So what you see though here on the screen, these yellow lines on Ambergris Caye, this is all the registered land on the island. So when you own on Ambergris Caye, you will own one of these properties here that is outlined in yellow. If there's property that's not outlined in yellow, that means it hasn't been surveyed and registered yet. And so you will likely not be buying that property, especially as a foreigner. Now, with that being said, to answer Alex's initial question is yes, you can build on your property, presuming one, you own the land. So one of the requirements in order to get your building permit is going to be a title of your property. We do know from our previous sessions that getting that physical title takes time. So as long as you have the completed paperwork with your LRS number, then you'd still be qualified to be able to build on your property because you are the owner. Now, number two is going to be that you have the proper permit. So you're able to build as long as you have the proper permits. And here we're just primarily talking about a single family home. If you're looking to do a resort or a development of sorts, then there are going to be additional permits that you need. But mostly, I think most of the people listening are going to be doing single family homes or maybe a small Airbnb or something along those lines. But you will need to get approval from the Central Building Authority. So in order to build, you need to own the land and you need to have the proper permits, and you get the permits from the Central Building Authority. So I do have a list of what those requirements are. I know it's very small. What I'll do is I'll put in the description below the link to the CBA so that you're able to see what all of this says. But essentially, there's an application that you need to fill out. You need to be providing fire plans if it's going to be more than just residential. In addition to that, you need to have clearance letters from the different departments. But this is something typically that your contractor will do for you. So you'll pick out a contractor or a project manager, and then they'll apply for the CBA permit for you. Once you get approved for that CBA permit, then you are able to begin construction. If you don't start construction within a year, then it lapses, and then you do need to complete construction within 5 years. So you start construction, you have 5 years to get the project done. If you go longer than 5 years, then you'll just need to renew your building permit. So if you get a building permit, let's say you're ready to go, get your building permit, and then something in life changes and you can't build right now, let's say you come back 7 years later, you're going to need to reapply for your building permit. But again, I'll put the link to in the description below for the CBA, for the Central Building Authority, so you can see what it is that they're requiring. Now, do though keep in mind the logistics. When you are building property or building your home on Ambergris Caye, there are a few things that you want to bear in mind. And this is going to help with the ease of setting expectations. One is the location. So where you are building, is there road access there? There are many properties that don't have road access. And sometimes it's because the road is not yet put in. And in other cases, it's because there's not ever going to be a road. And that typically is true for coastal properties. properties that are on the coast do not always have interior road access to them. So this is something, of course, that you want to know prior to buying the property. Work with your real estate agent to ensure that it has a road if that's important to you. We have a handful of clients who say, you know what, I'm going to have a boat anyway, or I have a boat already. I just want a property that's a little bit more secluded, a little bit more remote. I don't need a road, but I'll take my boat there. But this also will change logistics when you are starting to build, because you need to make sure that everything can be barged over. In addition to that, are there utilities? So again, this is important for you to know, because if there are new utility hookups there, if there's not public water, if there's not public electricity, then you're going to need to prepare for an off-grid home. In addition to that, how far are you from the barge? So this is something that's important on the island here. On the southern side of the island, south of San Pedro town, is where the barges come in. They're in the process of building another barge port, another port north, about 2 miles north of the bridge. So they'll be able to accommodate homes and construction that's happening on the north side of the island. But if you're super, super far from the barge, then somehow your contractor is going to have to get the material to you. So these will also help you understand construction costs, because if you're in the middle of nowhere, then they are probably going to be charging you a little bit more. Your contractor is going to be charging you a little bit more than if you were somewhere in town or more accessible. And then also understanding what's around you. So I like to mention this because a lot of times when people come here to Ambergris Caye, especially if they're going to the northern part of the island or the super southern part, where there's not many homes, they tend to only see the greenery that's around them. But do always remember that if the land on either side of you, behind you, in front of you is surveyed, at some point, another structure can be put in, whether it's a single family home, where it's a condo. We don't have zoning here in Belize. So you want to be cognizant of what's around, and also talk to your real estate agent about what the area is known for and what they anticipate. Now, they don't have a crystal ball. They can't guarantee what's going to happen. But if you do have all of that land around you, you just always have to understand that something else can be built there. And at some point will likely get built there. If you have the funds, I always recommend picking up as much of the vacant land around you as possible to preserve your area. In addition to that, additional logistics to keep in mind is the condition of the land. Are you going to need fill? Are you going to need to clear your land? These are sometimes two things that people don't think about, and the expense can get costly. If you need a lot of fill, if you need to clear your land, it can be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 US. But it just depends where that property is located. And in addition to that, if you're on the water, are you going to be putting in a seawall? Are you going to be extending at your Queensland? The first 66 feet of beach is considered Queensland here in Belize. Now, a lot of people will reclaim the land by building out another 66 feet. You need to get permits and everything for this. If you want to do a seawall, if you want to get dock, you need permits for all that, but your contractor can typically help you with that. But are you going to be putting in a seawall? That's something else that we see a lot of people are tending to do. Or if they don't do a seawall, they'll at least extend the beach out so that they have more space in front of their home. And then last but not least, project management. If you're not going to be here, even if you are going to be here, I would highly recommend having a project manager, somebody who you can trust, who you know is on your side, somebody who may be coordinating with the contractor and all of the different laborers and the skilled workers. This is really important. And I cannot highlight this enough, is a lot of times, even if you have construction experience in the States or in your home country, it is a different world down here in Belize. If you don't know the right people, if you don't have those relationships, you can and may get taken advantage of. So if you have somebody here who's local or somebody who's been in the game here for a while, then that is your best bet to make sure that you are on track with your property. Now, I just did an interview with one of my favorite project managers here in the country, someone who has just done a fantastic job for his clients, and someone that is repeatedly doing updates for the clients. He does Zoom calls with them if they want to see what's going on, weekly updates with photos, and then of course invites them to come down and see the construction too. But I'm going to be posting that video on YouTube in the next week or two, so I will put that link in the description below as soon as I have it. But this is someone that I would recommend, but of course I always recommend that you talk to the person yourself to vet them, to make sure you are comfortable with them. But this is important. So if you are planning to build on the island, this is just a very quick overview of some things to keep in mind, bearing in mind the logistics, and then we'll get that interview posted with the project manager. And he has a lot of other great points to keep in mind too as you are building. So Alex, I hope that helped. Yes, you can build on the island as long as you own the property, as long as you have those building permits. There are going to be these logistics to keep in mind and to coordinate, but that's why having someone like a project manager is going to be so important for you. If you're planning to own real estate here in Belize, please reach out to us. Not just this resource guide, we have tons of others that are geared towards educating you. What I found from being here in the industry for almost a decade and a half is that education is one of the best things our clients can have. If you understand the process, if you know what's going on, then that makes things, of course, easier for us, but it helps to set the expectations for everyone. So with that, my name is Rachel Jensen. Feel free to email us if you'd like a copy, an electronic copy of this resource guide, info@lunarealtybelize.com. info@lunarealtybelize.com. I do get a copy of that email as well. And then we'll be happy to introduce you to our fantastic team that's here on the island and in Caye. All right. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you in person. Bye-bye.